All right, let's focus on the toughest matchup for the Dirty Birds in 2025 so far. Welcome in, Falcons fans, to Falcons Today by Chat Sports. And on today's episode, I'm going to tell you what the Falcons can do to beat one of the best teams in the National Football League, the Buffalo Bills. Remember, this game is at the Benz, so the Falcons have the home field advantage, but it still will be their toughest challenge yet of the season. Make no mistake about that, because there is one player, just one, that is going to haunt your dreams if you let him, and that is this guy right here. Here's basically kind of what you need to know. You've got one task. Stop him. If you can stop him, you have a pretty good shot of winning the football game, because the Bills, based off of what we've seen on defense, are a gettable team. It's just this one specific player that will cause fits if you let him. Now, before we get into the deep dive, the breakdown, the analysis of how the Atlanta Falcons can beat the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, here's what I need you to do. Hit that thumbs up icon for me. Why? Because every single like means a little bit more juice, a little bit more good juju for the Dirty Birds. And if you don't like the video, then clearly you don't want the Falcons to win, and then I'm coming after you if the Falcons lose, and I'll be like, why didn't you like the video? All right, let's talk first about the first four opposing quarterbacks that the Falcons have faced. I know there's going to be a couple of Falcons fans. They're going to get down there, and they're going to say, we didn't really play anybody outside of Baker that's playing at an elite level. I mean, J.J. McCarthy isn't even playing right now. Bryce Young is who he is, and Marcus Mariota. But I still believe that this Falcons defense, while it is number one in a lot of statistical categories, has the opportunity to really show itself as one of the best units in the National Football League. Here's the honest truth, though. Josh Allen is a far better quarterback than anyone you've faced this season so far. You cannot start sluggish, because he will absolutely destroy you. You cannot take a quarter and a half or 2 quarters to get right in this football game, because you will look up at the scoreboard and it will be 24-3. That's how fast, how quickly, and how often Josh Allen can torch you. We've seen him do it countless times against some of the best teams in the NFL. And if you look at the Bills' offensive stats right now, I'm not going to lie to you. They are tops in almost everything. Yards per game, 3rd. Passing yards per game, 7th. Rushing yards per game, 2nd. Points per game, 3rd. You can go down the list of how many great attributes and statistics the Bills currently have in 2025. And as long as number 17 is their quarterback, they're going to continue to be that great. Here's another thing you need to know. This guy finds the end zone a lot. It's not like he's just putting up like yardages. He's number 1 in the NFL in total touchdowns. He's got 12, 9 passing, 3 rushing. And make no mistake, this is a guy that if you let him get outside of the pocket and do stuff with his legs, he will run for 65, 75 yards on you. He's fast, he's strong, he's built like a freaking tank. He's got a cannon for an... I mean, he's literally the prototype quarterback. I'm not sitting here trying to glaze on Josh Allen. That is what the tape says. But there is one area, his kryptonite, if you were calling him Superman, and that is the short game. This is the quick game. This is the you've got to play like Alex Smith type game. So if you look at his play action, torches you. Standard passing, torches you. When he gets out of the pocket and runs, torches you. But the screen passes, that's interesting. That's his lowest PFF grade of the entire 2025 season. So what this tells me is there is a way to beat Josh Allen, because while he is an athletic freak, his mechanics can go off into the weeds every once in a while. I think last year when you saw the Houston Texans go up against the Buffalo Bills, where they won, I believe it was like 30-9, and Josh Allen was like 9 of 33. You can clearly see that every so often, once in a blue moon, Josh Allen will just have one of these games. And I think that's when it happens. When you force him to play the quick game, the dink and dunk style of offense, he becomes a little bit more uncomfortable. Raheem Morris also identifies how good this guy is, and I think he kind of echoes what happens when Josh Allen is allowed to make plays. Here's what he said. You want to focus on making sure that we are in the right rushing lanes and doing the right things in order to not allow him to get outside of the pocket and be able to crease you and run the football. We had Baker do that to us, and he got us a couple of times, 3 or 4 times in the first game. Then Marcus Mariota got out there and did it once or twice. Meaning this, if you give Josh time to make a play, it's over. He is the ultimate playmaker at quarterback. Better than Mahomes, better than Joe Burrow. Those guys might be pure better passers than Josh Allen, but when it comes to making plays, Josh Allen, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in the NFL. He and Lamar Jackson are 1 and 2. So, here's what I'll ask you. What is a more important unit this coming Monday night? Is it offense or is it defense? In my honest opinion, it's the defense. Because like I said, if you can shut down Josh Allen, there is not enough other talent outside of James Cook on this offense that can really do any damage. So it's Josh and it's James. If you can shut them down, you can win this football game. But we can't neglect the Falcons offense, right? We can't neglect the Dirty Birds, Michael Penix Jr., Bijan Robinson. So we're going to talk about Falcons offense right after we tell you about today's presenting sponsor. Listen, October is that time where schedules, they just kind of get back to the busy side, you know. The kids are back in school and you might have busier business routines, but you know what? Getting time to cook shouldn't be tough. That's why I love Factor Meals. Their chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious, no matter how hectic the season gets. You can now savor global flavors, and for the first time, try Asian-inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. Support your wellness goals, enjoy even more GLP-1 friendly meals, and new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good-for-you fats. Eat smart at factormeals.com/FalconsChat50off and use code FalconsChat50off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code FalconsChat50off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. So the first thing I will say about the Falcons offense is this game plan should look different than it did against the Commanders. The Commanders, you really saw the Falcons start to air it out, and I loved that because that's been one of my criticisms of Zach Robinson's play calling all season long is you're not airing the ball out enough. And while the Bills do have a weaker safety room, they are glaringly bad in one key defensive statistic, rushing yards per game. Their run defense is, according to our Bills host, Mr. Tyler Smith, and I quote, booty cheeks, end quote. But they are pretty good against the pass. They're second in the NFL in passing yards allowed per game. And in points per game, they're a little bit lower than you would like to think, but I think that's mostly because of how bad they are against the run. So what should your offensive game plan be? Ground and pound. 1985 football. I want to see 30-plus rushing attempts between Bijan and Tyler Algier. That is the best way to beat the Buffalo Bills. And when they do move up to eventually stop the run, put 7, 8, 9 in the box, then you let Michael Penix go out and start shredding the defense. But I don't need him to go out and throw 35 times, 36 times in this game. Because the game plan should look very similar to what the game plan was against the Minnesota Vikings. Do you remember when we went up and we said, look, Brian Flores is going to blitz and he's going to blitz you often? It's exactly what they did. And to his credit, Zach Robinson identified that and they really committed to the ground game. Now, it's a little bit different against the Buffalo Bills because they're not going to blitz you nearly as much as Brian Flores did. But with how weak their defensive line is and missing some key pieces, you can really shred this team on the ground. And I think that is the best way to beat them. So if you were to ask me what Michael Penix Jr.'s projected stat line should look like, it's like this. I want 25 passing attempts, complete 18 of them for 198 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Because remember, the best quarterbacks in the National Football League don't need to look like Brett Favre or Josh Allen on a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars last year where he throws for 375 yards, 4 touchdowns, and rushes for another 15 to 30 yards, making it close to 400 total yards. What you need to do is win the football game against an opponent that is considered to be your superior. You can manage this game. Win the football game, and you will get the respect and the credit that you are so rightly deserving of. Because there will be times when you're going up against the New Orleans Saints and when you're going up against the Miami Dolphins that you can really flex the muscle. You can go out and throw for 310, like you did against the Washington Commanders. That's a poor pass defense. Penix went out, shredded him. I want you to win the game the best way you can on paper. And that is to attack the ground game. Especially, like I said, there's a couple of players on this Bills defense that are really, really crucial for them to stop the run. Matt Milano, their middle linebacker, their inside linebacker, he is most likely out for this game. Same with Ed Oliver, one of their best defensive tackles. He is also most likely out for this game. So I look at this and I say, you can really attack that middle of the field against the Buffalo Bills, not through the air, but on the ground. Let Bijan cook. Let him have his legacy game. And despite all of this on paper, the ESPN analysts, the football talking heads, are still saying that the Bills have the better chance to beat the Dirty Birds at home. They are -4 on Monday Night Football. That is egregious to me. Now, I'm not saying that the Falcons should be favored in this game, but I think this team with this new defensive identity should be a lot more in consideration to being a pretty decent matchup for this Buffalo Bills team. And if the Falcons can control the time of possession, if they can control the clock, and if they can do what they've already done on defense, they're going to win this football game. So, before I take off out of here on today's episode, let me know. Who do you have in this matchup? If you want the Dirty Birds, type your ATLs. If you've got the Buffalo Bills, type the BUFs. That is going to do it for us on today's episode. A reminder to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like today's video. I want to get the good juju going. And as always, rise up and be cool.